Again, welcome to this first episode of a long series where we are going to present the several cases of the best research outcomes and the way how those research outcomes will have an impact on our economies and industries. So we will be having interviews every Thursday with researchers who are now entrepreneurs, so let's say research-based entrepreneurs, who are turning their research into real startups. And we're also going to see those institutions that are helping research in becoming industries and having an impact in our economy. So we will be interviewing universities in Italy and outside of Italy, especially those people who are in charge of technology transfer. But we'll also have the chance to see other institutions or companies who are within the process of technology transfer, such as, an example, the Digital Capability Center of McKinsey, which is a testbed of technologies in the real environment. Today's case is the first episode, as I said, and I really welcome Franco Tecchia and Diego Comina from VRMedia. VRMedia is a spin-off company of the Sant'Anna School of Advanced Studies. In Italian is Scuola Superiore Sant'Anna. It's a graduate school primarily focused on research, both on social science and applied sciences. It's definitely one of the top institutions in Europe when it comes to robotics, but we'll have further details from Franco. And the company, VRMedia, is a company that started his history working in augmented reality and virtual reality, and is now approaching the market of industrial maintenance and service. So again, Franco and Diego, thank you for joining us. The first question I have for Franco is, first of all, a personal question. I mean, you are a researcher in Scuola Superiore Sant'Anna, and by the way, I mean, few people know that Scuola Superiore Sant'Anna is in the Times ranking, is the 4th globally institution among small universities. So we should be proud in Italy to have one institution like Sant'Anna being at the 4th position in the global ranking, just followed in the 5th position by another Italian institution, which is actually Scuola Superiore Normale. So I would say we are PISA-centered when it comes to leading edge research. So Franco, can you just tell us what is your primary research interest, what you're doing in Scuola Superiore Sant'Anna, and why you choose to become a researcher? What is so fascinating in your daily job as a researcher?
Yeah, of course. So thank you, Nicola. First, just a logistics. Do you want me to share the slides? Because I think we don't have the slides on. And do you want me to show the slides, or should I just at least introduce the topic without slides to go with?
Well, if you have any slides at a certain point, you can use them. Feel free to use it.
Okay, fine. So I will put some slides just later. So just to answer your question. The reason why I started as a researcher in the virtual reality field is that I started this many years ago. I started actually, it's more than 20 years now. And at the time, I really had a strong interest with virtual reality and augmented reality. And of course, there was no real market for it. And the only places where you could work with this kind of technology that were extremely expensive were research institutes. So working in research has been giving me the opportunity to not only investigate from a theoretical point of view, but also to play with very expensive technology at an extremely early stage. And was a big part in my decision to stay in research, because in this way I could spend time with kind of equipment. The initial years of my research career, started from Scuola Superiore Sant'Anna. I moved for a while to UK at University College of London, in which there was one of the main research lab on virtual reality, and there I learned plenty of things, and I was really able to play with a cutting-edge technology at the time, and that was extremely interesting.
Thank you, Franco. So definitely, I mean, a long-lasting story in research. But now, when it comes to VRMedia, which is your spin-off company, tell us the story, because it's a spin-off company with, a very interesting path. So you established the company several years ago. So can you just describe how was the evolution of your company since 2002 up to where you are right now?
Yeah, so as I said, research is very interesting in virtual reality. And while we were conducting research with this kind of extremely powerful machine, we could see at a very early stage that this technology was going to have a big impact on the society in general, but also in industry. Because we saw from the beginning the potential of virtual reality for training, for instance, and augmented reality for working in the field. So we decided to found VRMedia to exploit from, let's say, exploit, but in a good way, not really in a bad idea. So to exploit what we were doing in research to power industry with new technology. So in these slides that I hope you see now, you can see some pictures coming from the early days. We started in the beginning with application of virtual reality in training. We've been working together with some industrial companies, building stereoscopic, real-time 3D graphics training rooms in which we are explaining, let's say, how to dismantle or how to build some complex technical machines, and virtual reality was perfect for that. You know, we were able to explain to people any kind of complex machine how you were supposed to set it up. Then, after a few years that we were doing virtual reality for training, we realized that there was also a very big application potential for augmented reality. Augmented reality meaning that instead that placing people in the classroom, you were building some kind of wearable computer with advanced display that you have in front of the eyes, and with this wearable computer you could bring the power of augmented reality into the field. So you could use this computer to help you fix a machine or to receive assistance from remote. So we saw that there was a huge potential for augmented reality, and we saw that maybe augmented reality was even more, potential, disruptive than virtual reality in the future. Okay, so we started working in augmented reality basically in 2007. And from that time, we kept on working and working exactly on the same topic in a kind of an obsessive way. And this brought us to where we are now. So it's now 13 years that we are kind of obsessively working on the same topic, augmented reality for remote service.
Thank you, Franco. And so, I mean, while you have been so obsessed by the development of augmented reality in maintenance, just tell us about the evolution of the product and the company itself. I mean, so you had a nice story. You started working with industrial corporation, and then, I mean, later on a fund came up. How was that story?
Yeah, okay, so let me tell the story. So In this slide, actually, you see, I don't know if you can see my pointer, but this is the first prototype that we developed in 2007 of our product. It was a wearable computer, kind of wearable. It was very heavy, more than 10 kilos. But it was already enough for someone on the field to receive, let's say, help from remote experts. Now, during the years, this kind of technology was seen by several industrial players. So we started with CDL, that is basically a component of Tetra Pak. But very soon, as we were showing a little bit around our system, we received the attention of very big corporation in general. And Southern Energia is an example, and there is another example. In more recent time, we received the attention of General Electric. Okay, so the more the company was going on, the more the number of clients was growing. Okay, the more interest we were having from industry. We were really pioneer in this kind of technology. So what happened is that in 2017, one of our collaborators went to exactly the same course that you are at, that we are presenting in now. So it was 3 years ago, and there was a first match between the first, let's say, reciprocal knowledge of our company and what we were doing, and also the world, if you want, of investors and so on. So it was the occasion for VRMedia and Vertis to meet for the first time. The VRMedia was one of the business case in which there was an exercise, let's say a business model was developed during the course of VRMedia, and then we found each other interesting. So we started to have, let's say, a path together from that moment. So Vertis arrived in 2018, and so it's now 2 years that we have the investor in the company, and we are growing quite rapidly. We went from a group of 5 people to now we are 24 and counting, with a plan to grow even more in the very close future.
Thank you, Franco. And by the way, one of the person who joined the company in this the last 2 years is actually Diego. So Diego is now the vice president for business development and product strategy. And Diego is not coming from research. I mean, you were not a researcher before joining the company. You have been working in multinational companies. You were actually vice president General Electric Digital before entering VRMedia. So it's an interesting story, yours. I mean, VRMedia itself is an interesting story where people from deep tech research are meeting people coming from industrial corporations. So based on your long-lasting experience in multinational companies, how do you find yourself now working in a deep tech startup companies? And what makes working in such companies so great with respect to being a vice president in such a great multinational corporation?
Yeah, thanks, Nicole, and good evening, everyone. Yeah, definitely it's an interesting story. You will think that it's very hard once you enter in a corporate to change your DNA and kind of move in another world. But, I think it's important to understand that the world has changed a lot. I entered in a big corporation, GE, I was 23, right? And I spent there 15 years, mainly in the States. But then everything changed around, and the way the startups are innovating today and the technology that they're able to bring in the table is just huge. That's why, a lot of also corporations are looking at the startup as a vehicle to create innovation. And, knowing that, understand how the things were moving, for me was kind of a decision to change, as you were mentioning before, right? Definitely when you work in a startup, it's not like corporate. you don't have the same big infrastructure that you may have in a corporate, where you need the legal, you have the legal department, marketing department. So you need a little bit more to become entrepreneur. But I think that's also the beauty of the story. I believe that I wanted to play in the deep tech because I believe in the technology. I think we do have a lot of great technology in Italy, and VRMedia as an example. We most of the help that we can give from people like me coming from corporate is kind of to help to bring that technology to the market. Americans are very good on that, German as well. I think in Italy we're still a bit behind, but we're getting there. So that's something that, answering to your question, what corporate experience can bring to this world is kind of helping them to move along this journey and bring them to be recognized in the market and become a company. Definitely, working in a startup, it's really fun. I think you get to touch the technology much more than maybe in a big corporation. The rate at which the things are changing is just amazing. A lot of corporate, you may suffering the fact that between the time you have an idea until that happen, you need to get the approval of 20,000 people. In a startup, the time is your biggest enemy, so you just need to go fast, make decision, and move on. Then can be right or wrong decision, but you keep moving. The atmosphere is nice, is young, and I think you really learn more like in a 360 way how a company works and how to potentially make it grow. And honestly, I've been very attracted by VRMedia. I mean, I think I came across this company already when I was in GE, as Franco was mentioning before. I really believe that the augmented reality field will be the future. I think what's going on unfortunately, with COVID-19 is telling us that that's becoming the truth. People will travel less. People will need to do remote inspection. So all the things that Franco was dreaming, 15 years ago, are becoming a strong reality, and things are changing. I believe we are in the right industry.
Thank you, Diego. And by the way, in VRMedia, you're now in charge of business development product strategy. So just sticking to this point, can you tell us what is the strategy that you have in mind with the Kyber technology and the Kyber platform? How you position it with respect to all the other augmented reality tools that we see all around?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if Franco, you can put back the slide. Maybe I can just give you. So next. Well, I think one thing before to go directly in Kyber, I think it's important to understand why we are in this market as well. Not just from technology, but also from a business perspective. It's absolutely a very attractive market. It's growing like crazy. It's growing more than 40-50% per year. We have a market size estimation that is in the round of the 100 billions. So it's definitely the right place to be. Saying that, there is augmented reality and virtual reality. We believe that the augmented reality will be much bigger than the virtual reality with a ratio of 4:1. Some people go as far as saying that the smart glasses will substitute the cell phone or the smartphone. Maybe we'll get there, but definitely is a very interesting market. And it's not just a market for the consumer world, like everybody may think, for video games and entertainment, but it's also in particular a B2B market, so for industrial players. So that's exactly where we decide to play. And we are, first of all, where we are positioned. So we decide to play mainly on the augmented reality market. As you can see, is 4:1, and then we are focusing on the B2B market because it's going to be at least 50%, if even not more, of the pie. Now, if you deep into the world of augmented reality, I think one area where a lot of people get wrong is there is one device that fits all the needs. We're not there yet. It's important to choose the right device for the right implementation. Now, if you want to play video games, there are tons of devices out there from a consumer perspective. Great device, but for that specific use. So that's where we're not positioning. And then along the way, you get into the heavy or process industry, and that's where our technology is playing more. So that's really where we decide to focus. Now, when we play with our technology, the question becomes how we enter into the corporate world and the industrial world, and what kind of role we're playing in. I think as we're looking at the corporate side, there is a lot of digital transformation going on. Corporate have invested a lot of money into, making sure they get the data from their machine, work on that. They may have an AI platform. We're positioning kind of the last, but we believe is the first part of this equation is how we make sure that all this information that have been created can be used by the people in the field. Now, our technologies works if there is a person. And the idea is that if you have a technician in the field, for example, how can we avoid that the technician in the field still use pen, paper, so the old way of working? And second, how we make sure that all the information coming from the digital transformation, let's say the operating time of a machine or other things are usable by this person. And that's really where we want to play. So our goal is really empower the people in the field and make sure that it gets all the information in the field. And that will allow them to be more efficient, be faster, and also be safe in the work that is doing every day. Some examples are, a customer that may have a plant in Nigeria or in Papua New Guinea or, in other remote places. And instead of having one person fly from Europe all the way there with all the time that you need for visa and then danger and so on, they just use our device and then can quickly fix the problem. Now, if we look at our solution, the way we're positioning ourselves, maybe next slide, Franco. Yeah, perfect. It's about a system. So the idea is that we are not selling a single device, a single software. We're selling a system that allowed our customer to embrace the digital transformation and allow them to, making sure that the people in the field that are using it. So we build our strategy on our software platform. We develop a very strong platform with very important features. We are able to operate also in low bandwidth. That is really important in some countries, for example. And then this software can be consumed by different devices. So you can consume using just your phone. When, for example, you need to do a first intervention, we have an app that you download on your phone and then you can use it. So there are always two ways. There is the people that are in the field. In this case, can be using the phone, and then people remote that they use their PC, and the people can communicate very easily. Or if you have glasses, there are other companies producing glasses. That's where our software is running on them as well. Why? Because potentially you may need this technology for inside operation. And then we have what Franco was describing before, the top notch of the technology from another perspective, that is the helmet. We went also, the team also went on the hardware side because there was not such hardware in the market. And then Franco will explain later more in details the different features. But our hardware on the helmet side is really completely in the offering and really allow the customer to have a one-stop shop. So with one pane of glass from a software perspective, they can use different device and build a strategy around it. So we're more partnering with the customer than just supplying it.
So behind every great product strategy, there must be, of course, a great product and a great technology. And this brings us back to Franco. Franco, you're the Chief Technology Officer of this company. Can you just describe it for, let me say, for people like us who basically do not have a significant technical background as you do have, what are the key features of the technological platform behind this business platform? Why do you think this technology is so much different with respect to whatever we see already in the market? And what are the benefits that you do see your customers will having leveraging Kyber tech?
Main advantage. Okay, can you hear me? Saying I can see. Okay. I believe that what we have, the kind of technology that we have, is really the best overall solution, let's say, to the problem of augmented reality for remote collaboration. Why did we get to this point, and why do I believe that we have the best mixed or ingredients? So one of the reasons is the experience. Okay, so in this, the relationship with the university was really key. So we started working with this kind of technology very early, much earlier than any, let's say. Okay. Sorry, there is some noise, but so we started working on this technology from very early days. So we could really gain a very big insight on what was working and what was not working. And during these 13 years that we've been working on this field, we could focus our technical attentions on the aspects that are really key for solving the problem. Because the problem of remote assistance is composed by many aspects that you have to solve. So from a wearable computing point of view, you need to have a device that is ergonomically usable, that has the right type of technology in the display area, the right type of technology in the sound and microphone area. And there are many choices that you can do, but it's only through experience and through research that you can find the right component. Then there is an essential part that many people in this field underestimate, that is the data transmission problem. Because data transmission between endpoints that are very far and in places that are not urban at all, no? Because many of the companies that we work for have plants in kind of desertic place with very little infrastructure. You know, in this condition, networking is a problem. And you have to spend a lot of time, a lot of thinking, and a lot of algorithmic, let's say, attention to how you compress data the most and how you exploit the data you have in the best possible way. Okay, so in this part as well, we believe that we have accumulated more experience than competitors that are more recently arrived to the market. So that is it's for sure another key point. So in the end, you know, there is not a single feature that makes our technology the best technology. It's really the overall balance of all these aspects and the amount of time and research that we spend on every single of the components that really matter. Okay. I just want to close this very quick, let's say, description by mentioning the fact that many people that we met during the years are always been thinking that, you know, a researcher coming from university, researchers, professor, it doesn't really matter. They end up being so much focused on their technical problem that they are not able to then be pragmatic when it comes to solving a problem for real. But I have to say that this is not true. Actually, we've been spending most of our time in touch with large corporations, kind of having a minimalistic approach, like a Zen approach. We've been listening to what the corporation needed. We went been searching where the technical problem were with them, and we didn't try to build fantascientific technology that no one was really interested in. We really placed our knowledge in trying to solve the problems that there was a need to be solved. So we've been pragmatic. And this shows that even a spin-off of university can be quite realistic when it comes to building a real product.
It's interesting, this pragmatic approach you have, because once you were describing to us how the data transmission package that you use enables connection even from remote areas. I was just thinking that you're actually doing the reverse approach that everybody's doing. So while everybody's talking about 5G and whatever fantastic thing you might do whenever we will have a dramatic increase in broadband through mobile applications, but reality is not there yet. You said, let's try to cope with the digital divide, and let's have a technology that can be used anywhere in the world, even through a satellite connection line, which means, really everywhere, even if you're in St. Helens Island. And that would allow you to work remotely connected in an appropriate way. Now, just last two questions for you, Franco. One is a technical question, because, one of the main problems whenever you deal with data transmission is definitely security. And I don't think that your customers would be happy to share their information when it comes to confidential information around their plans or whatever to anyone. So how do you deal with cybersecurity in your system? And the last question, which is not any more technical, but what do you see is going to be the future based on your technology and the future of augmented reality in industrial maintenance and service in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah. Okay. So yes, as you mentioned, it is very important for the people that are present now to understand that when you deal with a corporation, the kind of corporation that we deal with every day, security of data is paramount. There is no way that anyone in the world will allow a device like our device to be inserted in their plant if they were not 100% sure that what is being filmed, recorded, and so on could be intercepted, let's say, by someone else, even competitors. So it's cybersecurity is a key component of our product. It's always been a key component. The way we address it is using all the best cryptographic algorithms that are available, and also many times going through some additional testing that clients require about vulnerability assessments and cybersecurity. So we have to expose in a way our data structure to the attack, to the cyber attack simulated by the clients in order to prove that the technology is safe in this respect. So cybersecurity, I cannot get into the details of it, but it plays really a big role. And we are doing certification about it and also testing with clients. So yes, I confirm what Nicola said, that is a big part of our technology. Coming to the second question about what is what we expect from the future. It's funny. This question it's funny because the future. Now, if you have seen Star Trek, you probably remember this kind of population called the Borgs. Borgs are like people that are half human, half machines, and they are all connected together in a kind of collective intelligence. That is actually what I think. I mean, if you, from a research point of view, this is another of interesting aspect of working with university. We know already, it's true that we are very pragmatic in the approach, but we know quite well already what will be practically possible in just a few years, as soon as networking starts to grow even more than it works now. So we expect the future to be quite radical, actually. We expect most, if not all, of the working, let's say, personnel, at least of some kind of industry, wearing device like this. So we expect every single person working in certain kind of industry having a personal device similar to this, being connected during working hours with all the other experts in the field, all other colleagues. So what is now kind of a singular, let's say, now our technology is empowering a person, a single person, but where the power really is in empowering teams and collectivities. And I think in the next 5 years, we will see quite a lot of them. We will see teams of worker of the future, let's say. And I think that is just the beginning of a progressive Borgization of the technical workforce.
Franco, Diego, thank you very much for your insights. And I found so fascinating. I mean, even this last slide that you're showing, where you're actually not the one with the numbers, but this one. I mean, you mentioned Star Trek, but on the other side, we will still have a human being in the field with grease and machines and noise, because the reality is this one. So actually, we have breakthrough technology helping people in their daily jobs everywhere, and that makes technology so fascinating, because that really has an impact in our daily life. So again, thank you. And I mean, I would be very, very pleased to have any questions for anyone listening here.
There is Pamela that is willing to ask questions. So Pamela, you can switch your mic on and talk. Thank you, Franco, for sharing. Pamela has the mic. She had the question, but probably she has a problem in talking. I don't know. I can ask you a question waiting for Pamela. This technology looks very interesting also for military. Do you have any military advances or interest for your technology?
And who's going to answer this question? Is me or Diego? Diego, do you want me to answer?
Who wants?
Yeah. Well, I can answer. I mean, I think directly military, no. Definitely wherever there is a maintenance to be made, and you can also do maintenance on, military vessel or equipment, yes, you could use it.
Mm-hmm. But they didn't show up so far.
No, we actually working, but on the maintenance side. So okay. It's nothing to do with the military application. I want to make sure that is clear, this one. Because,
no, sure, yeah.
Can create some misunderstanding. I think that the principle is that, either you have a gas turbine in the middle of nowhere, or maybe you have a tank in the middle of nowhere that you need to repair, and that can definitely help repairing company versus the military itself.
It looks very promising, this technology also for medical assistance or things like that, remote assistance in this period. What kind of growth did you, because I'm sure you're growing at the moment. I mean, it looks the perfect technology in the right moment to fix a lot of problems that we have now.
Yes.
So what's your perspective of growth?
Well, you say it is right. As I was saying before, COVID-19, unfortunately, but for our company is definitely helping to push corporate to innovate and move into digital. You know, as we are all working right now from home and leveraging Zoom and other technology, we are kind of the answer for the people in the field. So we are seeing more and more also Italian company, and we like that are approaching us and are embracing the technology because they clearly, have equipment in other countries and, they cannot send the people. So we definitely see a double-digit growth, in our industry, but also for Kyber itself.
Okay, thank you. Pamela asks a similar question, but more focused on humanitarian uses. Do you have any humanitarian examples of use or interest from United Nations bodies for these technologies to help impaired countries or people from remote?
So it's definitely an application where we could play. What we did was, we were part of the technology company of the Italian government during the COVID-19. So our app has been used also for in some healthcare application and also in other applications during the COVID. So yes, we've been part of that and we've been working on that. Definitely we see as well an application on bigger scale, as you were mentioning, we're talking about United Nations and so on. Maybe simple things that look simple, like, doing installation of camp or safety camp and all that kind of stuff. It is actually really complex. And people in the ground usually have problems. So we ran some discussion where, maybe the people from remote can support these people in the field to be faster and more efficient in building refugees camp or all the kind of stuff like that.
Okay. We have another question from Michele Capobianco. I don't know if he is able to use the mic because also Pamela had this problem, but I can read it for you. A couple of questions with reference to the near future and more longer-term future. What do you expect in terms of new projections technology? So probably this question is for Franco. And what do you expect in terms of additional edge intelligence? That probably is meaning edge computing. I know, do you have computing power in your devices?
So they are both interesting questions. So the first is a technological one. If I got it correct, is for displays, right? Did you say display?
Yeah, projection technology. So
projection.
Probably,
projection. Okay, yeah. Augmented reality relies on images that are generated by the computer. So you need a way to place images inside the environment. Okay, so this is still a largely unsolved technological problem. So the kind of video technology that we are using right now, I wouldn't say is mature. That's also a reason why big players like Apple, for instance, are always staying at the window, not really entering into this market because they feel that there is not a technology that is mature enough for the display part of augmented reality. So we believe that this is going to be a very big field in research and technology in the coming few years. I can't tell right now if this is gonna be solved, if this problem is gonna be solved by near eye display, so the space that you keep in front of your eyes, and in some way, they say, makes these virtual images exist only for you, or if this problem is going to be solved by some form of projection that will project images like holograms inside the environment. I would say that there is a lot more investments in the former solution, so near eye displays that simulate object in the environment. So if I have to place a bet, I would say is probably not going to be projection to solve this problem. It's probably going to be very advanced near eye display or even contact lenses. There are even contact lenses now in work that will have augmented reality capabilities.
It's amazing.
So
the second part of the question was about edge computing, edge intelligence.
Yeah, that is another very interesting question, because wearable computers needs to be light and need to let's say not use too much energy, because if you want to use energy, you have batteries problems. Okay, so there is a trade-off between how light a device is and how much computation you can do inside it. So there are now two conflicting trends in augmented reality. One is to build more and more, let's say, efficient CPUs that allows with small batteries to work in the edge, let's say, and really do a lot of computation on the device itself. But I would say that at a much faster rate, there is the market of the cloud computing and of the 5G transmission that is coming up. And in that respect, the computation goes in a completely different direction. It goes on cloud computers that are away, and what you really have is low latency link between what you have on the edge and this central cloud computing. It's two different industries, and they are competing in a way. I believe that it's probably the latter that is going to win. I believe that in the near future, there is going to be more things done in the cloud and very little done in the edge. But that depends a lot on the success of 5G. If 5G has success, then probably cloud will win. If 5G keeps stalling like it's stalling today, who knows? Maybe edge computing will catch up.
Very interesting. I never thought it about that. To this about in this way. I have a question from Stefano that I think is more appropriate for Diego, and it's about the market. First is one curiosity I have. Have you measured the size of the total market for this kind of products? And the question from Stefano instead is, which are the main countries and where the toughest competitors are coming from for your product?
Well, I'll answer the first. Yes, the market has been measured. Of course, not by us, but the usual guys like, McKinsey, BCG, Merrill Lynch, Bank of America. As I was mentioning before, the augmented reality and virtual reality are a market that goes between 200 and 400 billion, estimating 2023. There's a big range because, there are some variables, but, I think the bottom line is that it's definitely a huge market, and it's a market that is growing very fast. Now, if you look just at the augmented reality, for example, for the energy, marine, and military business, we are talking about a 30 billion market by 2023. So just to give you some number. From a competitor standpoint, I think the place where the competitors are coming from are, I would say, the usuals. So you have US, Germany, and China. For a B2B perspective, I will leave it aside a little bit China for the moment. I think they are good on the consumer side. They're not there on the B2B, and then, the problem that we're having right now. Definitely US and Germany are two big player when it comes to competition.
Have you assessed your market share?
We did. We did assess the market share. I mean, I'm not going to share numbers here, but I think today the way you measure market share, you really need to look at where you play versus the total market. Definitely, we play more the heavy industry application, and I think there, you know, from an hardware perspective, we're well positioning. And then you need to measure your share from a software perspective where they're a little bit more competitive. But you know, I think being an Italian company, we're doing well. Definitely what we are noticing, and that's kind of a little bit reflection, is that we see in Germany and the US potentially a very strict collaboration between corporates and startups that in Italy, in general, not just us, but you know, we're struggling a little bit still.
But is you named Enel and G. Is this collaboration working? Because Enel is really interesting partner if they really jump on your idea and sustain your business.
Yeah,
G as well, but G is American, so maybe they are more distracted by others.
Yeah, actually, yes and no, because Enel, we were very close with Enel maybe a couple of years ago. Now, yes, we keep working with them. Now we do have, for example, a strong collaboration with Arena in Italy. And we're still working with Baker Hughes G, more than G right now.
So your solution works also inside the ships. I mean, in the steel frames and all that stuff. Oh, that's really. I'm sure it's complex to make it work in there, but
it is complex. You may need to do some tweaks, but I think as Franco and Nicola were mentioning, we are trying to play, you know, where you don't have the 3G or 4G, right? And also where you have strong limitation. Like if you're in a boat, you need to use satellite. So our system is working also with satellite connection. And, you know, it's very expensive. So you need to reduce the bandwidth as much as you can.
Thank you very much. Is there any other question from the participants? I don't see any. So one last question from me. Who are the investors in your company? Who is the owner of the company at the moment? Who is who are the shareholders? Franco, you are the owner? Or
yeah. So yes. So the owners are the founders. So that is basically a group of researchers and professors, let's say, of Sant'Anna, and Vertis, of course. These are the two parts of the ownership of the company.
And where do you see the company in 5 years' time? What are your plans?
The likely plan for an object like what we do, and so for the kind of company that we are, it's, I don't know, very likely some kind of industrial acquisition. That's very likely what's going to happen. And if we are extremely lucky, maybe something that allows us to be independent. But I have a feeling that for the kind of thing we do, not being a consumer product, an industrial acquisition is going to be much more likely.
I understand. Okay, I don't see other questions, so I have to thank you really very much.
Professor Venier?
Yes, who's speaking?
Pamela. Sorry to have interrupted you. Yeah, funnily fixed it, sorry. Well, I would like just briefly introduce myself. I'm a former student of IMTL at MIB Business School, and I'm an advisor in tourism luxury. I'm now writing my final dissertation at the University of Aosta Valley concerning the usage of ICT to hospitality. So I'm very happy to hear that this reality, this startup is very well known and famous, bringing the name of our country worldwide. And the same hospitality is one of the main assets of the economy in Italy. So in my thesis, I'm making some analysis about the usage of these technologies. I'm wondering if in the future there will be pre-formed, let's say, asset and technologies, devices, sorry, to be used in the sector, and which will be the cost, because apparently it's very high at the moment. So if for small hotels, there will be, for example, the opportunity to use augmented reality or virtual reality. Thank you.
Maybe Diego?
Okay, just to make sure I understand the question is, how can we implement augmented reality and all this new technology, and how can that be leveraged by smaller company like hotel and on the tourism, right? Did I get correct? Okay. So you know, I think we're actually not so far. I guess we need to find a use case. It's definitely not the world we're living in, but you know, just to give you my perspective, I think when it comes to give to a potential customer the experience that he will have in being in the hotel, for example, you can already do that leveraging virtual reality and maybe more than augmented reality. So there are already hotels, you know, where you can download and see how it feels to be in this kind of place. And from a promotion standpoint, that's something that I've seen, like when you go to visit apartment directly from remote. And then maybe, I don't know, the other angle could be that you know, you can leverage augmented reality as an hotel. It's kind of a small factory in a way where you have stuff to fix. May not be expensive like a gas turbine or a ship or whatever. So you need devices that are slightly cheaper. You can use your phone, but there you can definitely leverage augmented reality. And for things that maybe we were not thinking about it. For example, I was having discussion, people managing yacht, that if you want is like an hotel. One of the big headache is the entertainment system. You know, people get in a yacht and they want the entertainment system to work. In hotel, maybe the spa and so on. With the technology, basically, they can fix the problem very quickly without having to call the technician that needs to come from I don't know where to fix it. So that's some of the example I've seen. I'm thinking about now that can be applied to this kind of industry. I don't know if Franco, you have more ideas.
No, I agree with what you said. I just want to add that maybe in this kind of market, virtual reality has even more potential than augmented reality, because a lot of times, when there is advertisement for tourism and so on, what is that they always say? Come and try, enjoy, experience the destination. So attracting someone is really about providing kind of a preview of his experience. And in this field, I think in this extent, virtual reality has really a lot of things to say, because it's the perfect way for you. Well, the second best way for you, except going there, to experiment a place. So yes, there is quite a lot of opportunity there. But for this to happen, it really needs to be a mass market. Because as long as virtual reality is not possessed by everyone, it's going to be always a very niche part of the population that will be able to do this kind of virtual experiences, and that doesn't really change the market. Unfortunately, virtual reality is pretty much connected to gaming today, to a very young population, very selected part of the population. But when it will become a mass market, then it will have, I think, a big impact on tourism. That's for sure.
At the moment, what is the price of your products? What is the price range? From the top of the functionalities to the cheapest one?
Is it for me or for Diego?
I don't know. Whoever has the information.
Diego.
It's really depend on what do you want and what do you need. We are going from actually the way we are selling is through rental. We saw be much more effective for the customer. So we have a 24 months contract including hardware and software. That's kind of the top notch. On the other hand, we offer the app standalone. So you have price that range from 50 to 500 to 1,000. It's really depend on the device and the solution that you're buying. I'm saying that because the top notch is really a technology can go into a refinery, in an oil tank. So it's very limited market. On the other hand, if you're working in a more normal environment, of course, the technology, the certification that you need is not the same, and also the price drop. So, and then depend on the solution, right? Some customer, we do a solution for them. So it's a mix between the hardware, the software, the app. They may have one helmet, two helmet, and then they have 100 app. And we do one solution for them. So but these one are the ranges of price.
So basically you build highly customized products. You don't have a standard.
No. The product is standard.
The hardware is standard, but the service
the
is
hardware is
Yeah,
I mean, let's say the hardware is standard, the software is standard, then the configuration, like, you know, how much you need, which one do you need, you may have different needs. So we have different standard products that fit different needs for the customer. They can be both standalone, or you can buy a bigger solution.
Clear. Thank you very much.
Okay.
If there are no other questions, I thank you, and I leave the last word to Nicola, that will tell us also something about. We will spoil the next webinar, the next case. So thank you very much, Franco and Diego. Very interesting. Congratulations and good luck for the future. I hope you're able to scale up and don't sell your company and become the next tycoon in Pisa.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for having us. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diego. Thank you, Franco, and thank you, Francesco. So, as Francesco mentioned, I will be spoiling a little bit what we're going to see next Thursday. It's going to be as fascinating as today. We will see a company that is between nuclear physics and biology. So we'll see how nuclear physics methodology plus supercomputing power enables the discovery of new drugs for today's undruggable diseases. So we will be meeting what we call a factory of new medicines for undruggable diseases today. So we look forward to meeting you all next Thursday, 6 p.m. on the same channel.
It looks very hot stuff. Thank you, Diego. Thank you, Nicola. And
thank you.
See you next week. Thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did this experience. And let's meet again next Thursday. Bye-bye.